Which brings us to our fourth topic of the day, and it relates very much to Elon Musk, actually. I realize it, as you're saying. It's funny how it all kind of comes together, right? Zach. So Elon Musk, if we have him here right now, he's telling us, look, at the end of the day, it's all hard work. It's all having visionary. I don't care about degrees. I flunked out. I don't need a university degree. I don't need a college diploma.
Yeah.
That means nothing right now. It really is, at the end of the day, about your hard work and getting into the right industry. But Zach, at the end of the day, in this real world, there's very few people that can hit like Elon Musk.
Yeah, no, if you're Elon Musk, I'd love to speak with you.
I'm sure he's listening right now, and he is clamoring. So by all means, he can call up our publicity department, and we can arrange it.
Of course.
But that being said, let's say he's shy, he's not ready right now, he has other things on the go, all good. But we could talk amongst ourselves. In the real world now, reality, why do we need a university degree and a college diploma?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It's something that I see. I was a hockey coach for 10, 11 years almost, right? I started off just pushing pucks for my father, who was coaching many teams, right? And then eventually I made my way up. We were assistant coach, head coach. It was like a family business almost. And in that, I got to have a lot of good relationships with the kids at the time, right? The kids we were coaching. And they would ask me, they would say, Zachary, at the time, maybe I was in school. What are you doing in school? What do you like, right? Is it realistic for me to just not go to school? Is it realistic for me to become a plumber, right? Like our trades, what they used to be, are they still valuable? Is there still an opportunity there? And so while I was coaching all these kids, it was like growing up again twice for me, right? Really? Because you have to see what's available to you. I have my uncle. I consider him successful. He's a business owner. He works hard. He takes a lot of pride in his business, and he never did a post-secondary education. Okay. And he's doing well for himself. He's got no problems, right? Well, not to say he doesn't have problems, but his education wasn't a problem for him.
Wasn't an hindrance, okay.
And he's the only one.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody else I know, they went to school for this. They went to school for that. My girlfriend, she went to Western and got a marketing degree there, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a very good school. Yes. Right?
Western, very highly considered.
And she was applying for jobs. Listen, she didn't do poorly. She had good grades, and she had her resume was platinum. It wasn't even gold. It was platinum. And she went out into the job market, and it was hard. It was very hard because they want an entry level job, right? And you got to have 5 years experience, and on top of that, you need to have an MBA. If you don't have an MBA, you have to be studying for your master's. You have to be willing to get an MBA. By the way, we're not going to pay for your MBA. So you have to have an education. If you don't have a degree, it's becoming a problem, especially in my industry, right? Like I'm studying to become a certified financial planner, a CFP, right? And that's the cream of the crop designation. It's like the CPA for accountants. That's what it is for us.
But before you got the designation, even in starting off, what degree did you get?
I got a finance and a business economics degree. So I played.
So for your honor university degree.
Oh yeah, okay. For sure. And I played right into my strengths. I could not do the market. I have a marketing team. I couldn't do it for my life if I wanted to, right? Yep. And that's why people see me all over the place everywhere, because my team is great. But I couldn't do it for my life. I didn't want to, right? That's good. Management. As a hockey coach, you manage enough anyways. I was learning how to do it from a young age, right? My thing was numbers. I'm good at numbers. So I said, what are the two things in any business degree that have numbers primarily? Finance and economics. Did it in high school. Finished high school with 99s and 100s in both of them. And I'm like, okay, let's just roll, baby, right? I took my knowledge to York, and I finished top of my class there too. And I'm like, I have a niche for this one thing, these numbers, right? And so eventually I rolled into it, and my uncle, like I said, I have family members in the industry, and so they took me to meetings, not client facing, but in a sense where they were showing me how to do the job, and I fell in love with it. And then they said to me, okay, Zachary, I'm happy you're enjoying this. You need 2 licenses to start. Right?
So university degree, honors, 4-year, not even sufficient now?
No. I had to get licenses. I have to get an insurance license. Why? I'm talking about a specialist product for people. And anybody who's ever had to use insurance will know the importance of insurance, right? Somebody who hasn't had to use it, I'm happy for you. They won't see the real value in it. And when you're doing something like that, we're talking about people's whole lives, right? Their whole lives, they're completely financially dependent on these things. So yeah, you need a license for that. And then on the flip side, it's the investment sides, right? Oh, now we're investing people's whole life savings. Well, yeah, you need a license to do that too. And on top of that, you need, professional insurance, liability insurance too, right? And so, these insurance companies aren't going to insure you unless you have these things also. Right. And that's just to start. Now I'm on the ground floor. So,
but if you didn't get your university degree, can you just go directly to get those licenses?
It used to be. Yeah. So they've changed. They're changing the industry now because you need the degrees to do it, right? Especially if you want to become a CFP. I want to become a CFP, right?
Yes.
Like I said, cream of the crop. That's where I want to be at. If you don't have a degree, a bachelor's or any type of BA degree like that, no CFP for you.
Right. So even the degree is not necessarily the be all end all, but it's going to be the foundation for the next steps, and you can even get to those steps from there.
Absolutely.
When I'm bringing on new lawyers on board, and I'm interviewing at Kormans, and I'm thinking about whether they will work out or not, I get asked the question all the time: what do you need to do to be a successful lawyer? And I tell them it's very simple. You need experience, you need knowledge, you got to get results, and people have to like you. So when I'm interviewing somebody, I'm trying to determine, first of all, the most important criteria, believe it or not, is, are people going to like you? Are you going to work well with your staff? Are clients going to like you? Are they going to feel comfortable with you? Are they going to respect you? If you don't have that interaction in this day and age from a client service point of view, no matter how much experience and knowledge you have and you get results, and people don't want to work with you, it's done. So let's say we get that part, person's good, feel comfortable with them. Can they show they've gotten results? Well, if they're new into the industry in law, for example, and they've only done a year or two, not going to really know that. So hopefully that will come with time. You only know that by working with them. And do they have knowledge? And do they? And at the end of the day, is that going to happen or not? And the thing is, if you don't have the degrees at the end of the day, and you don't have that education, so we look at, for example, what are the undergraduate degrees coming from? Which law schools did they go to? People do consider that, because let's say, for example, it's all young lawyers, and this person went to a top school, and I know they got their undergraduate degree. I'm going to see what they got it in, and then where they went to law school, versus somebody that went from high school directly off to another country and went for law directly, let's say England, Australia. Not that they're not good schools, but do I have the confidence, first of all, they lost that undergrad part of it, and number two, they're very young, and will they be able to have that experience and knowledge? And that's going to be very lacking generally when you don't have that foundational point. So all else being equal, all of a sudden, this person has more schooling, and from there I have the feeling that they're going to have more knowledge, then I'm going to have more confidence in them. So it's interesting, because I tell this to people all the time, that's just law. You're going to go into other arenas, to be able to get that interview even, they don't know you yet. So they don't know if they even like you. They don't know if people are going to be personable with you. To even get your foot in the door, there's so many applicants for the same job. The people with the better schools, with the higher education, are probably going to get their foot in the door sooner. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's one of those, and it's not just about getting your foot in the door sooner. It's about where you cap out, right? Take, for instance, kid I was coaching, lovely kid, didn't love the books, didn't love the studying, right? He wanted to be hands-on. And trust me, I have nothing against going into a trade. I have a lot of clients who are tradesmen making more than enough money and satisfied with running their own
and if
business.
They're good at it, by all means,
exactly,
nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
But at some point, you have to get some type of extra education. And so, for instance, he graduated high school, and he said, I want to go into construction. So he went into construction. He got a good job in the plumbing area, right? And he had a supervisor come up to me and said, listen, kid, you're fantastic, right? You're one of the best we have at your job, but this is it for you. You'll never go higher than this, because in order to move up in this world, you need to have additional education. It doesn't have to be a 4-year BA, right? It doesn't even have to be a 3-year BA. It could be a 1-year apprenticeship in school, right? And for him, he went specifically to a school that specialized in educating plumbers. He got his degree, and the kid he's now, how old is he? He's 21 years old, and he's a manager on a construction site. Like, how fantastic is that?
Right, but there's very few jobs at the end of the day. So if you get your foot in the door, certainly, and you get that work experience, that life experience, street smarts, you may not need the book smarts at the end of the day, but
of course,
very few of us have those connections and be able to just get into the door. When you're going against all those other applicants, it may not happen. It may not happen for you. I'm thinking about all those young entrepreneurs out there, like those Elon Musks. Majority of future Elon Musks that have visionaries and everything else, they won't get started because, oh boy, how does accounting work? How does marketing work? How does HR work? How do I incorporate a company? They start thinking about all these things. How am I doing tax planning? How do I do sales? Who am I going to hire?
I got arrange financing is one of the biggest ones.
Yeah. When I decided that I was going to be going to law school, I was born to be a lawyer. That I always knew. I was groomed from the moment, I had a pacifier in my mouth. They told me, you're going to be a lawyer because you're a second generation. It's over. So I knew that my goal was already set for me long ago. But I didn't go directly into law school. I made the decision and I got into Schulich, which I was very proud of, one of the top business schools in Canada and probably the world. And from my mind, even though I'm not going into business per se, I am, because number one, if I'm going to have business clients in the future as a lawyer, I need to be able to speak their talk. And believe it or not, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be anybody in the business sense, even if you want to go and be a plumber, for example, to be able to network with people, to grow your business, to have good suppliers, good partnerships, you have to understand how business works. And if somebody's able to do that, fantastic. I'm saying that gives them an advantage. If Elon Musk would have had a business degree, probably would have not hurt him at all. I'm not saying how much it would have helped him considering where he went, but he also had luck and everything else and good planning, smart guy. But Elon Musk is 1 in a billion. No,
he's more than that. 1 in 7 billion.
Yeah, so it's not happening for most, and so that entrepreneur, and from that end of it, in running a law firm, for example, I have a better sense for it because I've studied it and seeing real life case examples and going through it. So when I look back in my career and I'm looking at, I have a lot of young lawyers that reach out to me and they're telling me, so what should I do for undergrad to be a lawyer? I tell them, think of what I always say, start at the end result and work your way backwards. Yeah. What do you envision yourself doing? And what do you think will teach you the business life skills at the end of the day that will get you there? Because look, I always tell people, look, I think the best business is HVAC repair.
Oh, it's huge.
Especially living in Canada and living in Toronto, Ontario. We have cold winters, warm summers. That means breaking air conditioners, breaking heaters all day long. Oh, yeah. You go to college, you get a diploma, and you understand how HVAC repair works. You have a license to print money in my mind if you do it right. And then from there, open up your HVAC company and then hire people and grow but again, that involves business. You need accounting, you need finance, economics. So that's where even you go into HVAC, if you have an understanding of that, like it's amazing at the end of the day from I see businesses that fail, Zach, and you have clients. I say all the time, if you're a cook, you could be a great cook. That doesn't mean you're a great restaurant owner.
Yes.
If you're a hairdresser, you could be very good at cutting hair. Doesn't mean you're a good business owner at the end of the day. And where I see the clients that fail the most are the ones that take their profession, saying, I'm good at it, so it just means I should own this business. But they don't understand about owning versus renting the real estate. They don't understand about hiring and managing people, sales, procedure manuals, client service. It's incredible. So I think at the end of the day, in anything, it revolves around business. If you intend to run it, you better understand it. Otherwise, by all means, stay in the profession.
I want to preface everything I'm about to say to start with.
Yes.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with being an employee.
Not at all.
Nothing. It is the lifestyle that the majority of people take.
Absolutely.
And for most, that's what's best for them, right? That being said, for the right type of person and a driven, motivated person, a person who wants to, create things in life, who wants that Muskoka chair on the dock, right?
Yes. Nice segue, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. The person who wants that, I don't want to say you have to be a business owner, but you have to be a business owner, right? Yeah. That's how you're able to produce and control your own wealth. And I have seen in my short tenure enough people who are great at what they do, great at finance, great at cutting hair, great at fixing cars, right? But they fail because they're not meant for running businesses. And it's a whole different beast, right? You go out there are people whose job solely is to run the business. They don't have an absolute clue what product or service you provide. Their job is to run the business because it's a whole different beast. And so having that extra education, knowing, management, marketing, financing, right? Human resource, a massive one these days, especially, right? It takes you into that next tier, right? So you need it.
Thank you for enjoying today's episode of the Chosen Life podcast. Go ahead and hit the subscription button below and the notification bell to catch all of our great shows. And remember to contact the Chosen Lawyers when you are ready for your next real estate and commercial transaction. Go to kormans.ca.